Sorry about the delay, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this happy May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, for those who celebrate. Today, we are going to be talking about Special Olympics and special recreation with a special focus, of course, on our leukodystrophy community. Our speaker today is Margaret Halter. She is an AMN wife, but she also has vast knowledge and experience with Special Olympics. So she will be giving us a rundown today. And I would like to remind everyone that this is being recorded. It will be posted to YouTube. So if you have any concerns about your privacy, please feel free to use the chat feature as we're going through the presentation. Please enter your questions into the chat and we will make sure that everyone's questions get answered, but there will be a discussion opportunity at the end where you can come on mic, come on video, and we can have a discussion. So without further ado, Margaret, take it away.
So sorry about all the, the stuff you're going to miss, but I'll try to talk through some of it. I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am to share about Special Olympics and having competition with differently abled folks. So Special Olympics is wonderful. It opens up many more opportunities, just not competition.
Okay, you guys, come here and lay down.
It gives good social skills. It gives an opportunity for our folks to get out and meet new people. And it's a good confidence boosting, and it's great for your health. So all those things included, I'm also, today happens to be our spring games here in Ohio. Of course, I'm not attending them because it's a two-hour drive away. So I do the behind scenes functions of our Special Olympics. I'm one of the coordinators. I get everything set up for them, and then I send out two of the coordinators and several coaches and chaperones with the delegation that we have participating today. So Keely's going to show you the first clip, and I'm hoping that it gets you all excited, but it's a nice taste of what Special Olympics is all about. It's global. It's just not Ohio.
My son is terrific.
La mia amica Sara è troppo brava.
Our daughter is terrific. My son is terrific.
My daughter is terrific.
My daughter is terrific.
Our son is terrific. Aren't you, mate?
Yeah.
My daughter is terrific.
Ma fille a très bien couru, elle a été fantastique.
Η κόρη μου ήταν υπέροχη και γενναία.
My son is terrific.
My sons are terrific and they're legends.
My stepson is terrific.
Ma fille est formidable.
Η κόρη μου είναι αθλήτρια των Special Olympics στο μπάσκετ και όλα τα παιδιά ήταν φανταστικά.
My brother.
My daughter.
And I think it cut off just a tidbit of the end, but I think you get the picture there that how much excitement is surrounded about Special Olympics. So it's really easy to see what the mission is. It's a year-round sporting training and athletic competition. It's a global organization. It changes lives by promoting understanding, acceptance, and inclusion among people with or without intellectual disabilities. And I'll get to that part of it. this is just a transformation of the power of joy of sports every day around the world. And if you've been a volunteer or if you've been part of Special Olympics with your loved one, you understand what I'm talking about. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how it was founded. In 1968, Eunice Kennedy Shriver founded the Special Olympics, which provided people with intellectual disabilities to continue having opportunities to realize basically their potential, to develop their own physical fitness, demonstrate courage, experience joy and friendship. And everyone involved in Special Olympics, including over 1.1 million coaches and volunteers, we also benefit from that joy and experience that our individual athletes do. I bet you don't know how many athletes there are. There are 5.5 million athletes with intellectual disabilities involved in the Special Olympics program around the world. And in addition, we have more than 1.1 million coaches and volunteers. And I said that before. And we have 244 national and US programs in 193 countries. So if you're thinking this is just the states Special Olympics, it's not. It is widespread, and like I said at the beginning, it's global. So to be eligible to play in Special Olympics, first of all, you have to be at least 8 years old. And I always tell my seniors that participate with us, they can participate until they can't. So there's no cutoff age. But we like to start the athletes at 8 years old. There are some states that do have a younger age, and they start from 2 to 7. But those are few and far between. Probably the bigger cities, I want to say, would have that. And they're generally connected with the school districts. So they can get help out of the school districts with that age group. So go ahead and flip me one more screen, Keely. So we often talk about what is an intellectual disability. So ID is a term we used in the DD field, of course, to describe a person with certain limitations in cognitive functioning and other skills, including communication and self-care. So I'm not going to read all of this on the screen. So we know that there's all different types of intellectual or ID diagnoses out there. The ones that everybody else knows about is like the autism, the Down syndrome group with our Special Olympics, but it's inclusive of a lot of our children that are suffering with the leukodystrophies too. So I think my first year in Ohio, I did have a young man that had a type of leukodystrophy in our Special Olympics program, which was fairly rare. We normally don't see that too often. But when we're talking about intellectual disabilities, I do have to make sure that they're eligible. So we do ask for some documentation. We usually ask for physician's diagnose, and we also ask for school records, because the school records will show cognition levels. And if their IQ is 70 or above, we tend not to make them eligible for our program, but if they have a functional disability along with that little higher IQ, we usually can make them eligible. So it's a combination of things that we have to work on when we're trying to make them eligible for Special Olympics. Okay, Keely, you can go ahead and go on to the next screen. Okay, we're going to see if this this plays.
My students know when they're not included. No one's saying hi to them and not paying them any attention. It's tough to watch. Being 12 and being able to be proud of yourself is a feeling that he might have not had before had it not been for Special Olympics Unified Sports. It touches your heart.
So just a little tidbit again. So years ago, Special Olympics seem to be pretty seclusive as far as when they started off with volunteers and then our special population of our folks with ID, and really making substantial changes, because anyone that's been in this field long enough knows that early on, our children were labeled mentally retarded, and that's what they called them. We have changed and we have progressed into a much friendlier language, more person-centered, with intellectual disabilities. So yearly, I actually do this with some of the local schools to make sure that we are going out and we are actually making a difference for inclusion. So able-bodied people and able kids that are in regular school districts that have our ID kids included in their classrooms, we try to make them part of signing that inclusion pledge. So I'm not going to show you the pledge. I'm sure some of you have heard it. But that is the link. Keely could put it into the chat if you guys wanted to sign that pledge or get some information from Special Olympics, how you can go about doing that in your area. Okay, so preparing our athletes. So this is, again, we're talking about intellectual disabilities, and some of our athletes have a lot of problems performing any kind of athletic ability. So they may be more severe or more profound intellectual disability, and they may have a significant physical disability along with the ID. So some of the programs have what's called the motor activity training program, which is just a fancy word for, we're going to slow that down a little bit. We're going to work a little bit more with our athlete, and we're going to change the environment so they can participate in a skill and actually be able to do it. So the picture you see up here is actually a ring toss with a cone, but we're just trying to see if that ring toss can actually go on the cone. We have other adaptive equipment we used. I can think of one that we use in bowling. You're going to see a photo of it. I think I put it in, of how bowling, we can get a ramp and utilize that for some of our bowlers that need a little bit extra help. They may not be able to pick up the ball, but they might be able to push it down a ramp for the bowling competition. This motor activities training program, that's actually, it's been supported by the Lions groups. So the Lions Club International Foundation has supported that endeavor. So if you have a Lions group in your area and you would need some of the inclusive equipment, reach out to the Lions group to see if they will help you and partner with you to raise some funds to get those adaptive equipment for your community. Let's go to that next one. Keely. Oh, she's ahead of me. So this to me was really interesting. So I'm Ohio, of course, and I'm really just basically always interested in what's going on in Ohio, the different programs. But when I participated and tried to set up this PowerPoint, I came across this screen, which I thought was really, really interesting. So at the end of the PowerPoint, I believe I have a link where you can go in and you'll see all these different areas, including North America. So if you're in the greater North America area, your state will come up if they have a program. But amazing. I didn't realize that Africa, Asia Pacific, East Asia, Europe, and Eurasia had something. I believe now Pakistan does have something. So I don't know if our Pakistan guy is on the webinar. But I saw some programs similar when I was making this PowerPoint. And let's go ahead. So these are some of the athletes that are in our leukodystrophy community. So pictured on my right of the screen is Maddie, and she is using one of those adaptive bowling ramps. So you can see that she's able to get assistance to push that ball down and do some competitive bowling with her group. And I think that Marilyn said she is also in winter activity sports. So I'm not sure what they do for their winter sports. And I thought I saw a picture of her in track and field. Now, the young man over here that's smiling and beaming is at spring games today. He's playing volleyball. So I'm assuming that's part of his volleyball team. And this is Mitch. And Mitch has actually ALD in his family, lost a younger brother to the disease, and has an older brother that does not have it. And Mitch, I believe, went through a transplant. I don't know what year he had gone through the transplant. Great kid. He's out, he's active, and he's doing well. Okay, so I had another slide here, but it's going to be at the end, so we're not missing it. So I want to talk a little bit about, I follow this foundation, and if you're on Facebook, and if you're part of our leukodystrophy family, you may know the I Am Able Foundation. And again, his mission is very similar to Special Olympics. He removes obstacles that keep people with challenges on the sidelines, providing them access to programs and equipment tailored to their needs and a community of all abilities to support them. I mean, I just find what he does so interesting. So the CEO of the company, his name is Chris Keg. He was 21 years old serving as a Marine, and things changed for him. So in 1997, he was diagnosed with AMN, adrenal neuropathy. So after all these years, you know, of being healthy and active and in sports, he decided to do something that could give back to his community. It's just a wonderful give back for him. I did leave the link on the bottom of this because I think that Chris tells his story so much better. So if you're interested in learning more, he is in the Pennsylvania area. I don't know if you can click on that, Keely, but I think the next one we've got some we can click on. So we'll show some, he does grants yearly, and is able to give recipients some very nice adaptive equipment in that area. So let's try clicking on that one. Doesn't look like it's coming up. So this is one, oh, there we go. So it's not showing on the screen, Keely. I don't know if everybody else can see it. So let me talk a little bit about his ad that he has up here. So I just sort of grabbed that because I wanted you to see that Special Olympics does work in cooperation with him and his program. So he focuses on able-bodied people to come in and actually do some great fitness with his folks. It's nice program that he has, and it's grown, I think, I want to say from a very small group into a very large group. So, oh, she got it working. Yay. So this is one of his grant recipients. And that's Chris right there. these adaptive bikes are wonderful. We have them at several of our parks. I'm hoping that the group of you that are watching this actually have some of these adaptive equipment that you can utilize for your folks.
When I was 11 years old, I promised the nurse I'd run the Boston Marathon, if I grew up. I didn't know it at the time, but I'd never run again. But 28 years later, almost to the day, I won the women's hand cycle division of the 2019 Boston Marathon. My name is Devin Murphy, and I'm a pediatric cancer survivor. I never expected my life to be like this. For the longest time, I merely existed. I didn't know what adaptive sports were, so I tried to fit in where I could. It was like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. For so long, I lived my life in the shadows, desperately trying to go unnoticed. But connecting with Chris and the I Am Able Foundation, everything changed. That's when I learned to shine. This has always been bigger than me. It's never been about podiums or medals or sponsorships. For me, it's always been about being strong enough to pull myself up when I fall. But more than that, it's been about helping others find their shine. Every morning we wake up, we decide how we live our lives. We get to choose how we're going to take on every challenge. We get to choose if we're going to give up or get up. We only get one life. Live it.
Okay, so this is another organization that is not in Ohio, but I'm finding out that many states have this. This is Ansley, and Ansley was diagnosed in 2003 with infantile neural axonal dystrophy, if I'm saying it correctly, just before turning 4 years. It's an extremely rare terminal illness, a lot like our leukodystrophies that we deal with. And her parents were avid runners, and they had a jogging, I think it's called a jogging buggy, but they noticed when Ansley went for her first jog during a local road race, she gave what they said was a radiant wind-induced smile. And I see it in her face, and I think that this is another avenue that you may want to look into if your child wants to experience some things. Reach out to this organization. I don't know if I added the slides to this, but yeah, go to the next one. So these are some of our angel riders and angel pushers. So you can see they're pretty cool buggies. This is my son in the middle picture, and on the end, he is pushing a buggy that weighs probably 120 pounds. And then riders are between probably 130, 140 pounds at times. But he just finished a half marathon with a young lady, I think it was last month. But a lot of us that are runners, we would be getting involved in stuff like this. And it also gives individuals an opportunity to get out and feel like they're doing something too. So it's a really good organization. This is in Knoxville, Tennessee, and East Tennessee, I believe, is the branch that I looked up. And go ahead on to the next screen. Okay, so this I had towards the end. There's one more. There's a couple more in mind. So we're going to talk about some of the things that didn't pop up basically on this PowerPoint. So there's another organization that is local to us, and I'm sure that a lot of these organizations in your states, they just probably aren't known until you start either searching for them or you have somebody that you know that actually participates in them. But we have a young group called the Unstoppables, and they do basketball and softball and baseball with individuals with disabilities. And you can do it in a wheelchair, you can do it, they'll have runners that will run for the actually push the wheelchair around the bases. it's just, it's one of those teams that got started because, again, as parents, we want our children to experience the same thing. So it was parents that started this one locally, and they have grown since the 10 years that they've been doing this, and they now have 5 counties involved that are around my area. Oh, and the last thing, one of the other screens that I did want to talk about was abilities.com. If you have not been to this website, you need to try to go visit it. I always try to push this, and I'm sad that you guys don't get to see this, the screen on this one, but in Chicago, they have an expo that goes on, and it is the week of the conference, believe it or not. So if you ever have extra time and you want to come several days earlier than the conference, this year it happens to be June 21st through the 23rd. But they have so many different things that you can try out, adaptive bikes, ways to help your child maybe climb on a wall. It's really so much, I can't even explain it. I do have I'm hoping I can send this PowerPoint to Keely, and she can put these slides possibly on the website, so you can grab some of the contacts off of them. But it's something that's really neat to be seen. Thanks, Keely. I see that you said that you'd put it up. So I did want to kind of, I should work for abilities.com. I went once, it was years ago, but my husband and I were so impressed. There's so many different wheelchairs that they have there. You can kind of try out. There's so many things. There we go. You found it. Yeah, it is amazing. So that's something that if you've got a computer at home, look at it, see if you're interested in coming a few days earlier before the conference and checking it out. And I think the last slide that I was going to talk about is actually Easter Seals. Easter Seals is another organization that goes from a lot of different states. It's just not in one state. And they offer camping and recreation for people with disabilities. So it's a different type of program, but it's a nice thing for you to check out. They do have some camps that are just day camps. So your child can actually get experience of a camp during a daytime hours, and then you're picking them up because they don't have probably some of the medical necessities needed to keep overnight. And I think that's Keely, let's go back to the slide that we missed. Yes, that one. So if you click on that, let's click on that link because I want to see if it will pop up. Yay. So let's scroll down a little bit and you'll see, look at this. This is amazing. So these are all states that participate in Special Olympics. If you even are interested in volunteering with your child or even with your husband and your kids, look up your local Special Olympics because there's so many things that you can do for the athletes, and there's so many things that these athletes do for us. Me personally, they've touched my heart so many times. I can't even imagine the difficulties that some athletes go through at this level, and they just shine. They are appreciative. They love the sports they compete in, and it's just a really cool thing to see. And then you can go to that last slide with all the pictures. I can show you some of the pictures there. There we go. So this is pretty much local to my area. I had to put a couple photos in there. My daughter-in-law is a director of the Tennessee Knoxville Special Olympics. So my grandson's in that little picture, and he was helping sort medals for one of her events. And then she is pictured right below him with two of her athletes. And then, of course, my son has my grandson on his shoulders. Along with Special Olympics, I also do a host of events for my athletes. So there's social things that they can do. So you see me pictured with a little guy that's dressed up as a policeman, and my dog and myself dressed up as a doctor. That was an event we had for Trunk or Treat. The big picture where you see all of us together in front of a van, we had raised some funds and got granted a van for our Special Olympics program, and that was called our Polar Plunge. So we do lots of activities. Up in the corner, you see Mitch again, and I think he's probably at one of his volleyball events. And down in the corner, you see Maddie. That almost looks like a football field. So now I understand when she said winter sports. I don't know if she's on yet. She could explain that a little if she is able to come on a little bit later. And then this photo right here is shortly after, I want to say 2013. Before I started coordinating, I was a coach, and I got one of the nicest honors in the coaching field for Special Olympics, and was given an outstanding coach award for the state of Ohio. So it's in my blood. I coached before that. I coached high school level sports, but this is where I love coaching. This is everything to me. Showing those smiling faces and just the knowledge, knowing that they've done something and they've done it with their whole heart. It's unbelievably amazing. So go ahead, Keely, and show that last. And these are my folks. But I thought it was a cute ending to what Special Olympics is all about.
This year, Samaritan Hospital Foundation is honored to help support Ashland County's Special Olympics. These funds were generated through the Foundation's Charity Golf Classic and matched by the Foundation. Special Olympics has grown significantly over the past 5 years, from about 50 athletes to approximately 130. The Ashland County Special Olympics are totally funded by our community.
And that is it. Does anyone have any questions?
Marilyn just came on. You
Oh.
wanna?
Yeah. Yeah, Marilyn, we have a parent here that is involved in Special Olympics in the great state of Texas, right, Marilyn?
Maybe.
Yes, I'm having internet problems. Let's see. So I was connecting forever to try to get on. All right.
Oh.
Oh.
She might be at the side of the road somewhere. That's all we know.
All right. Well, we can open to questions or comments or anything like that. It looks like Marilyn might be trying to come on video too. Don't worry if you don't want to come on screen. Feel free to use the chat box. Hey, Marilyn. Emily, do you have a question?
I do. Hi. So I have a almost 6-year-old kiddo with Alexander disease. And he uses a wheelchair but is able to self-propel. And I was trying to think through, like, are there any recommendations on activities for kiddos to kind of get into around this age to work towards the Special Olympics involvement?
Yes. So I
I
actually have a program in Ohio.
Oh, Margaret, you're cutting out. Nope. Nope. Try again, Margaret. Nope.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, we'll just take those off. So I actually have a program that we started with some of the teachers. So you can still contact like your Special Olympics that is over that area. I don't know where you're from, Emily, but you could still contact that area and ask if they have any pre-Special Olympics activities that you can either give to the teachers or you could start a group on, you can actually start a group on your own. I love when parents kind of branch out and do that. And then you can see what they have to offer in your community.
Emily said she's from Colorado.
She's from Colorado. Okay. So I would think that there would be some, at least some groundwork for that age group. I still allow that age group like to come and participate with some of our activities. Like we have an ongoing fitness program where we meet at a park and we walk on blacktop, or we push wheelchairs, whatever the parents are bringing their children in. But I always let the young kids participate. I let the siblings participate because I always figure that somewhere down the line, I'm going to get some volunteers out of that. And it does happen that way. I guess what I'm saying is look at wherever you live, look online, try to connect up with that Special Olympics. You can send them emails and they should be able to answer you quite quickly on some sort of programming that you could either start up or give to some teachers that would be interested.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah. When I heard the 8 years old, I was like, oh, I don't want to wait.
Yeah. And I honestly, that's how I grew all my Special Olympians. So for the longest time, we had a group of 6 to 7-year-olds. And we couldn't do a whole lot. So we did our own thing. We would have our own track meets. We would have, any of those things that they wanted to try. We just did it at the community level. They couldn't compete at state or any of these other things that our other athletes do once they turned 8, but they still had fun and it starts them. And that's how I grew as you can see some of those photos, that's how I grew my softball and my basketball teams from starting when they were little.
We have a question from the chat.
Kaylee, can you hear me yet?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I'm finally in 2 bars, and I'm parked. So I wanted to just answer Emily from like our point of view. and I'm Marilyn. I'm a member of the board, and I have a daughter, Maddie. She's 16, almost 17. She's in a wheelchair. She doesn't speak. She goes to public school, and she does Special Olympics, and she does bowling, and she loves bowling. They have adapted stuff for bowling and Margaret probably talked about all of it, but I didn't. Sorry, I missed it. I'll watch the recording. And there are different places have different adaptations for like for bowling. We have the ramp, but the Unified Special Olympics is, I guess, worldwide.
It is. It's global.
And yeah, and so yeah, somebody from Ireland was there just to see how we were doing. They had like where my daughter could tap a switch with her head, and she knows how to do that for using her communication device. And the ball would let go when she would tap the switch. It's awesome. But for like little kids, my son, even though he doesn't have disability, he did karate. There's a lot of places that have karate for all abilities, and not a lot, but a couple. And there's a lot of our kids have a secondary CP diagnosis for insurance and things like that. So she does things with the cerebral palsy group. And I don't know how old they start at, but a lot of they're starting to be a lot of like power chair soccer. And if you don't have a power chair and if you're in a wheelchair, they have extra power chairs with the little I don't know what they're called, guards on them on the front. So they have power soccer here, and I know they do wheelchair basketball here, and I don't know what age they start at, but there are some things that we haven't tried that I know. I'm in Texas, but so I don't know in Colorado what there is, but I think like I'm not sure how to find them, honestly. So I would end up Googling.
Yeah, you just have to Google and put adaptive sports in. Even if you start getting hits on sports that aren't for our population, still keep on Googling that, because sooner or later they're going to pop up. I was amazed all that came up when I was kind of creating this PowerPoint. And I wanted to say something too. Thank you, because I didn't say anything about Unified. So Unified is a huge part of Special Olympics. So we have bowlers that are paired up with able-bodied people. And we have a basketball team that plays. It's awesome. They play with our folks. We got to go to state, I think 2 years in a row with that Unified team. So that's a different type. And the high school kids and the college kids, those are the ones that I recruit for the Unified, and they really, really like it. And it's good. It's just a good template for them to see what our athletes can actually do, and they can learn from them too. Trust me. Some of the statements I've gotten from my Unified players, like I just, it just really touches my heart that our athletes give so much back to us, and we just don't realize it.
Yeah, Maddie has oh, sorry.
Oh, hold on, Marilyn.
Yep.
This person has been so patient. There's a question in the chat. Are programs for those with physical but not intellectual disabilities? They have a 32-year-old person with a progressive physical disability due to a leukodystrophy diagnosis, and they are thinking of getting involved in recreation and exercise with others would be good for their person. And they wanted to mention that they are from Boston, Mass.
Okay. All right. So again, I think I would do that Googling to see what comes up with adaptive sports to start with. And Special Olympics is not out of the picture. So I have two young men that we qualify them for Special Olympics with functional disabilities. So they don't have a big ID. Their cognition is above 70, but because of their amputated legs and they're using prosthetics, they just they love this. I had to talk to the one young man for close to 6 months to talk him into just trying to come out and do something, because he just kept on saying that he just wasn't sure whether he could do it. And he plays basketball for us, and he's actually running at a track meet too. So today. So yeah, I would most definitely Google adaptive sports to start with in your area, and then the Special Olympics to see what kind of programs they have going in your area too.
Yeah, a friend of ours has MS, and he plays, what is it called? It's in the Paralympics. It's hockey, but I can't remember what it's.
Lacrosse?
No, it's hockey, like regular hockey.
Field hockey?
Huh? No, it's just hockey, but I can't remember what they call it when you're like sled hockey, I think it's
okay.
called,
Yeah,
or sledge hockey.
Yeah.
So he plays that, and I think everybody, I don't think anybody in there has any intellectual anything. So it's, let's see. I'm trying to think of other ones. But there are a lot of like military kind of people who join, have sports with military people. And I'm guessing that they would accept anybody into their sporting programs. I'm not positive, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree, because the one slide where I have the I Am Able Foundation up there with Chris. So military again, but I also, when I Google that, it's just not in Pennsylvania, it's in other areas too. So that might be a good place to start too. And I think Christy with the Rusums, she would probably have some contacts up in that area. Is she from Massachusetts, or I have the wrong state?
She's from Washington, I think. She's all over, like, cause she travels a lot for work.
Okay.
So I don't remember where her home base is.
Okay. But I know that she, even with her leukodystrophy, she swam, she did the cold water swimming, which is just amazing to me. She was quite the athlete. I mean, that's how they found her, started her journey on her diagnosis. Anything else?
ME, isn't that Maine?
That's Maine.
Maine. Okay. She's in Maine.
So, I mean, that's, she might have some, that would be someone that might have some contacts too, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll shoot her an email. All right. Are there any other questions? If you want to pop them in the chat, or if you want to come off of mute, please feel free to join the conversation. Really quick though, I will put up our post-webinar questions. There we go. Just 2 questions. We really appreciate you taking the time to fill this out. Like I said, it helps us make sure that our content is being as beneficial as possible to you, and also assist in our grant application so that we can get funding to keep offering these sessions. So if you could take a second just to fill out those 2 questions. Don't hesitate to reach out to the ULF ever. office@ulf.org. That will get you in touch with me and our other office staff, Tara, and we can get you in contact with anybody that we are then connected with. So Marilyn and Margaret, they both hear from me regularly, as well as our board members and a lot of our contacts. So we do ask that you reach out through the office email so that we can put you in contact, and we can answer your questions. So if you think of any questions after we end this call today, and you want to still send them our way, by all means, please do. And if we can't find the answer, we'll certainly point you in the right direction in finding that answer.
Are you able to post the full PowerPoint if I send it to you? Okay.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
So there's lots of links on the PowerPoint, but
yep.
I would definitely go look at all the extra slides that you guys didn't get to see.
Yeah.
And there's, there's links that you can connect with, especially if you're doing some searches for Special Olympics. So
this recording will be posted to YouTube tomorrow, and I will send out an e-blast with the recording, and I will link the PowerPoint in that email as well. and then it'll also get posted to social media too. So if you would like to rewatch or share, that would be fantastic. Let's see, just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Nope. If there are no more questions, we will sign off for the day. Thank you so much, Margaret, for your excellent presentation and everything that you do for the leukodystrophy community as well as the Special Olympics community. And it's always a pleasure to get to hear your stories. And thank you to everyone that joined us today. Have a great day, everybody.
So long, Marilyn.